There you go. Let me go ahead and say that again. Welcome again, everyone, to Operation Entrepreneur, Business Impact Northwest celebration of military connected small businesses going National Veteran Small Business Week. I am Dr. Chris Armstrong Going Sr., the program director for the Northwest VBOC, which is the Veterans Business Outreach Center. I am a Black male who was bald and clean shaven, whose pronouns are he and him, who is wearing glasses and a blue long sleeve shirt. The Veterans Business Outreach Centers provide business coaching and training for our military connected business owners throughout our 4-state region, which is Idaho, Oregon, Washington, and Alaska. And we are funded through a cooperative agreement with the Small Business Administration. And just so you know, that today's webinar is being recorded and will be shared with all the participants who registered for this particular event, as well as the PowerPoint that's going to be presented by Terry here and shortly. So we will make sure you get the recording and the PowerPoint. So we just want you to sit back, take notes, enjoy the information. And then, again, if you have follow-on questions, you can always reach out to us. As it relates to today's presentation, we would ask that you drop your questions in the Q&A box located at the bottom of the screen. And we will make sure that we get your questions answered upon Terry's completing of his presentation. So before we get started, again, because this is brought to you in conjunction with Business Impact Northwest, the VBOC, and the Small Business Administration, we want to hear from the Small Business Administrator, Isabella Guzman, real quick.
2024 marks the 11th National Veteran Small Business Week, SBA's celebration of our nation's veteran and military family entrepreneurs and their contributions to our national and economic security. Whether they are creating local businesses in their hometowns or delivering the products and services needed to help ensure we have the strongest military, they are vital to our economy. Veterans employ over 5 million Americans and generate $1.3 trillion in total sales each year from their businesses. No matter where in the world, in what era or branch they served, members of the military community have one thing in common. They are trained for entrepreneurial leadership. They are hardworking, agile and resourceful, team-oriented, and committed to mission with unstoppable dedication. They do what it takes to get the job done. The SBA has supported the military community since our founding over 70 years ago, and we enhanced those efforts with the creation of the Office of Veterans Business Development 25 years ago. And over the years, we have continued to expand our offerings to ensure that the military community has a home at the SBA so that they don't have to go it alone. We've expanded the number of Veterans Business Outreach Centers from 22 to 31 in less than 2 years, helping more veterans access the business development resources, capital, and counseling they need to succeed. Last year, the SBA backed thousands of loans to veteran-owned businesses, totaling $1.2 billion. And under the Biden-Harris administration, their total loans are up 33% and total dollars are up 40%. And whether it's Boots to Business, a working capital loan, or our new Military Spouse Pathway to Business program, the SBA is committed to equipping our veterans and military community with the resources and support they need to succeed as business owners. And during National Veteran Small Business Week, we're calling on America to celebrate and take our veterans to the next level. Our resource partners are doubling down on trainings and outreach, and American consumers can double down on finding and supporting veteran and military family-owned businesses and their products. Veterans, we are grateful for your service and sacrifice and look forward to celebrating National Veteran Small Business Week in honor of all of you.
Thank you, Administrator Guzman, for those inspiring words. And at this time, I would like to introduce you to Regional Administrator Beto Yarse for Region 10. He's got a few words for us.
Hello everybody, Beto Yarse, Regional Administrator for Region 10 for the Small Business Administration, covering Washington, Idaho, Oregon, and Alaska. Happy National Veteran Small Business Week. This week is all about you. What you have done for our country while you were in our national uniform, and what you continue to do for our country by contributing mightily to our local and national economies. Thank you. Veteran entrepreneurship is thriving under the Biden-Harris administration. We know that the veterans are even more likely to start a business than someone with a graduate degree. You are also more likely to start a business than non-veteran. For this and many other reasons, the SBA has been marching alongside you, working hard to help you achieve the American dream of business ownership. The SBA is here to assist with what I call the 3 C's and the D: capital, consulting, contracting, and guidance to disaster assistance. We understand that small business face challenges, of course, but uniformed personnel, veterans, and their spouses face unique circumstances as well. President Biden recognized this as a sign and executive order to support military spouses and veterans entrepreneurs. The SBA now provides guidance and tailored resources to military spouses to help them to relocate their businesses and with their service members transfers to the new duty station. The SBA also launched a more effective and streamlined veteran business certification program that connects veterans to federal contracting opportunities. Veterans and their spouses are leveraging these and other initiatives to start and build their businesses. Your business are growing stronger. You are making a difference in our communities, and you are contributing significantly to local and national economies. Your contributions to the nation economy are as impressive as your contributions to the national defense. Veterans own nearly 2 million businesses at the generating more than 1.3 trillion in annual sales. Those business employs about 5 million of our friends and neighbors and pump out annual payroll of nearly 200 billion into our communities. Our family of veteran business outreach centers has grown to 28, included the one opened in Alaska just last year. The military spouse pathway to business is working closely with spouses on their entrepreneurship journey, and this is on top of the popular Boots to the Business program, which can be found on U.S. military installation through the world. As a regional administrator for the beautiful Pacific Northwest, I'm thrilled to see how many veterans complete their military services in our area to return after they serve to grow their business here. So many of you are flourishing, and they are meeting the needs of even more customers. That's seen in a lot of numbers. About 70 million of 7A and 504 loans were awarded to more than 130 veteran-owned businesses in fiscal year 2023. And early indicators of the fiscal year 2024 numbers will be equally impressive. Thank you for your service.
Thank you again, Administrator Yarse. And because of your leadership, we're able to elevate and empower small businesses across our region. Now, let me just introduce you to our VBOT teams. Again, I'm the Veteran Business Outreach Center Program Director for Washington, Idaho, and Oregon. And my team members are Michael Reese and Jasmine Garcia. And for our Alaska team, their program directors, Tracy Willett. Michael was also a part of the team up in Alaska with Melissa Welch. And we just got a new team member, Brian McDermott, who's currently onboarding that's in Alaska as well to serve your needs. Now, on to our featured speaker. Terry Holmberg is a retired 41 years of federal service employee. His last 29 years was in the federal procurement as a contracting officer with the Department of Defense. The majority of his experience was in construction, architect engineering, and service contracts, both pre-award and post-award. He spent half of his career overseas in Japan, Cuba, and Italy, and the other half awarding administrating contracts at every U.S. naval facility around the Puget Sound here in Washington. In retirement, Terry is an Apex Accelerator advisor, working out of the Silverdale, Washington office, and a score subject matter expert on federal contracting, helping companies compete for government contracts. And Terry is also available to help our audience today. So again, Terry, on behalf of both myself and Tracy, we'd like to welcome you to the presentation, and we look forward to hearing your presentation on understanding federal capability savings. I'm going to stop sharing, Terry, so you can go ahead and share your screen.
Okay.
1 second.
It's saying somebody else is sharing right now.
Hey, Tiana, can you stop sharing? It won't let me stop sharing.
Let me take a look. One,
Are you able to see my screen now?
hold on. I can only still see Chris's. What if you tried sharing it now? I've allowed multiple participants to share simultaneously. I can't remove your shares, Chris. Oh, wait, here we go. There we go. I've stopped Chris. Terry, if you want to try again.
It looks like it's going to work. Are you able to see that now?
Yes.
Yes.
Good job.
Let's see if I have control of my keyboard. I do. Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Terry Holmberg. As Chris gave me an introduction there, we'll benefit for those how I appear. I'm a male Caucasian. I have light brown to graying hair, receding. I have an ecru shirt on, long sleeve button down collar, and my background is my office library. So we're ready today to get into capability statements. And for those who don't know what that is, it's a marketing tool for you to provide information to federal agencies and also the federal agencies contractors who are looking for subcontractors also, especially for small businesses and small businesses who have socioeconomic certifications. So the agenda today is I'm going to give you some background on capability statements, the requirements for a federal capability statement. Then we'll go into a summary, and at the end, we'll have question and answer period. So what I would like you to do is jot down your questions during the presentation, and at the end, we'll have a Q&A session. And I think that way, this whole presentation will go a little quicker. As you can see there, there is a picture of the front side and the back side of a capability statement, a federal capability statement. So we're going to get into the details of that. A few abbreviations that you want to be familiar with. CAGE code is a commercial and government entity code, and you will receive that once you register your company in SAM, the System for Award Management, and select all contracting types of actions, you'll be assigned a CAGE code. GPC's government-wide purchase card program, you would know that is getting paid with a Visa or a MasterCard. The NAICS is the North American Industry Classification System. The federal government uses NAICS codes, for which there are 759 of them, as opposed to where I'm located in the state of Washington, they use commodity codes, for which there are over 3,000 of them. So you got to know who you're working with and what coding system they are using. And the last abbreviation there is UEI. That's Unique Entity Identifier. You will be assigned one of those once you register in SAM. Years ago, it was Dun & Bradstreet. No longer. Dun & Bradstreet lost the contract. It's now Ernst & Young, and the database is owned by the United States government as opposed to Dun & Bradstreet. So once you start registering your company in SAM, you will be assigned a 12 alphanumeric number, which is a UEI, Unique Entity Identifier. All right, some background. Your capability statement is your marketing tool. It's your marketing document. You use it to communicate your capabilities clearly and effectively to potential business partners, stakeholders, suppliers, customers, or even your employees. Federal agencies and contractors who need subcontractors will want your capability statement also. So it's not just for the federal agencies. It's not, it's also for the contractors who are looking for subcontractors. Okay. Keep in mind too, that a capability statement, once you get one prepared, don't run off to the printing company and print 5,000 of them for your next networking event that you're going to, because it's a living document. And here are 3 examples of what I'm talking about as a living document. First, as your socioeconomic certifications change, you're going to need to update your capability statement. Whether you get a woman-owned small business certification or HubZone or veteran-owned, or get entered into the 8A program. Once you get those certifications, you got to change your capability statement. Another is whether you, or as you win prime contracts or even subcontracts, you're going to update your capability statement to reflect those. And another example is your NAICS codes. You may change your NAICS codes as time goes on. You may add NAICS codes, delete NAICS codes. And when you do that, you want to update your capability statement. So as you can see, here's 3 examples where the capability statement is a living document. So what we tell our clients is just print off enough capability statements for your next networking event that you go to. Okay, chances are after that you're going to be updating it anyway. All right, so here's the front side and the back side of a federal capability statement template. There are 2 for federal capability statements, as are for states also, but today we're just talking about federal. So there's a capability statement example for service companies. An example of a service company is janitorial, grounds maintenance, architect engineering, a construction company, IT company. Those are companies that sell services, as opposed to companies that sell supplies. Later in this presentation, I'll show you what a supply capability statement looks like. But essentially, there are 4 components of a federal capability statement. On the front side, you have what I call is your data. It's what is your cage code, which is a 5 alphanumeric number. What is your UEI number, which is a 12 alphanumeric number? What are your socioeconomic certifications? What are your NAICS codes? And you may only have one, depending on the industry and business that you're in, or you may have many NAICS codes. And especially if you're a supply contractor, my gosh, it won't be enough paper for probably all your NAICS codes. So you got to make some decisions there as to which ones you're going to show on your capability statement. You're also going to identify whether you accept a bank card for payment, and that is the government-wide purchase card program. And now, because the Department of Defense has launched an initiative called cybersecurity and moving into CMMC, which could be starting as early as next spring of 2025, we are now putting cybersecurity certification information on our capability statements. So you may start down that road of getting a certification, so you could put on your capability statement cybersecurity pending, or if you actually get your level 1, 2, or 3 certification, you want to put that on your capability statement, because that says a lot, and companies will be able to award contracts to you and federal agencies. The next of the 4 components on a federal capability statement is core competencies. That is what you are in business to sell. Are you selling supplies, services, construction, architect engineering, IT? You're bulletizing your core competencies of what it is that you are offering to the agencies and other contractors. The third component is experience, not past performance. When it comes to federal contracting, those are 2 different things. And a lot of people think they're interchangeable. They're the same thing. They are not. Experience is who are you selling to currently, or who have you sold to in the past? Past performance is how well did you do it? Okay, so you may have had a contract with, say, IBM for janitorial services last year. Past performance is how well did you do it? Did you do a satisfactory job, an outstanding job, and a marginal job? So it's like a grade. Okay, that's past performance, is how well you did it. Experience is, have you done it before, or are you currently doing it? And lastly, when the reader reads your capability statement, looks at your data, looks at your core competencies, looks at your experience, and they like what they see, they want to know how to contact you. That's the fourth category of a federal capability statement. It's your contact information, point of contact, phone number, email address, website. It's all your contact information. Keep in mind, speaking of email address, when you start your business and you want to get into federal contracting, you don't want to have an email address that ends in @msn.com or yahoo.com or hotmail.com, because when you send that email to a federal agency, it has to go through a firewall. And if you have that type of an email, it will not go through and will not get to your end recipient. You have to have your own domain in order for the federal agency's recipient to receive your email address. A little tidbit there. And lastly, you want to add pictures. Relevant pictures related to what you are selling, whether you're a supply contractor or a service contractor, janitorial, construction, whatever. Break up the front side of your capability statement. You want to make it appealing, easy to read, couple of pictures. When I was a contracting officer and I received capability statements, my eyes were drawn to the photograph that was on that front side of that capability statement. And if I saw on the picture, construction work site, I would know that that's a company that's in construction, as opposed to grounds maintenance and whatnot. So a picture tells 1,000 words. You want to add pictures, very important. All right, so now this is the back side. So on the reverse side, you are providing details of what you identified on the front side under experience. So remember, under experience, you're naming names of the companies that you have worked for, whether it's IBM or Microsoft or 3M, a company down the street or whatnot. And you're going to expand and provide the details for each one of those from the front side on the back side in the same sequence. And here are the bullets of the detailed information, all laid out here for you. You can put it in the same sequence as they are stated here. The first sub-bullet there is repeating the company name that you identified on the front side of your capability statement. And then where possible, if you have the contract number or the agreement number that you had with that firm, you're going to identify that there. Third bullet, were you the prime contractor or were you the subcontractor? Fourth bullet, this is kind of difficult, especially if you've just been doing commercial work or private work, is typically you're not going to know what kind of a contract it was. But if you have a federal contract, it's definitely going to be one of these types of, these are just examples of some. There are some 19 different types of contracts in the Federal Acquisition Regulation, and that doesn't even identify all of them. But to expand on what these abbreviations are: firm fixed price, FFP is firm fixed price, C is a cost type contract, T&M is time and materials, PO is a purchase order, BOA is a blanket, a basic ordering agreement, and IDIQ is indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity type contract. And these are just a few. So those gives you some ideas of what you would put in that bullet there for contract type. The next bullet is, what was the dollar value of that procurement that you did for that company? Followed by, when was it awarded to you? Followed by, what was the performance period? So sometimes the date of award and period of performance are the same. Depends on the industry that you're in, and was it commercial or private, whatever. It could be the same date. But often when it comes to federal contracting, they are different dates. Date of award could be today, November 12th, 2024, but your contract does not start until January 1st, and it goes to December 31st. So on the first bullet, date of award will be November 12th, 2024, And on the next bullet, period performance will be January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025. See, so there's an example of what the difference is between those two bullets. And lastly, and not least, just as important as the rest of this, is a short, brief description of what you did for that client on your contract with them. 2 or 3 lines, just high-level synopsis of what you did on that contract. And you'll see pictures again. Ideally, for every data block, detail block that you have, next to it, on either side, however you want to format the backside of your capability statement, you want to add a picture, a relevant picture. Ideally, if you don't have them in the future, every time you get a contract and you go out and do work, take some pictures and keep them. Keep them on your computer, archive them so you can use them in the future. If you don't have your own pictures, then you can go as a secondary source, go up to up on the internet and pull down the canned pictures that are related to what you did for that customer and put them on there. Let me show you an example here. Here is a federal capability statement template. There's the front side. And what we're talking about now is the back side. And you can see a detailed block for each of those that were identified under the experience on the front side is a detail block for each of those. And adjacent to that is a photograph. However you want to organize your capability statement. Maybe your pictures are on the opposite side. Okay? So that's what we're talking about, photographs. Now, if you are a supply company, you sell widgets, shoes, office supplies, paper, whatnot, the backside of your capability statement is going to be different than the backside of your capability statement if you're a service company. For a supply company, you're going to identify the supplies that you sell. So let me show you here. I have the template. Here is the backside of a service company that I just had up here a moment ago. And here is the capability statement backside for a supply company. See the difference? This has the detail blocks, and this has a listing of the supplies that you sell. Front sides are identical. It's only the backside that changes. Okay, and here is the template for a supply company that I was just showing you that I was holding up. So you can see the front side on the left there is the same as the capability statement for a service company. It is only the back side that changes. All right, formatting. Call it a capability statement if you're a service provider. If you are a supply company, you sell widgets, call it a line card. Okay, capability statement versus a line card. Second bullet, keep it short and to the point, 1 page, double-sided in living color. You want to add color. If you have a logo, use the colors in your logo for your capability statement. Tie it in. You don't have to have a logo, but if you have a logo, it's in color, tie it in with your capability statement. Less is more. You only have about 8 seconds to capture the attention of the reader. You hand this capability statement to a person, whether you're in an elevator going up or in a networking event, they're not going to spend a lot of time. 8 seconds is a long time for them to look at your capability statement. So you want to capture their attention, make it pleasing to read, and have the basic content of the information there. As I said earlier, the 4 components of a capability statement for the federal government is: what is your data? What are your core competencies? What is your experience? Have you sold it before, or are you currently selling it to somebody? And how do they contact you? Those are the 4 components of a federal capability statement on the front side. The back side is just the details of what you put down under experience on the front side. Next bullet, as I said before, make it visually appealing. Include a logo if you have one. Break up the flow of the document into columns instead of long sentences going across from left to right. Put it in columns, easier to read. Bulletize. Don't put in paragraphs that that you want the person to read. Bulletize them. It's faster to read bullets. Use bold headings, bulleted lists, borders, colors to separate and emphasize sections. You want to make it pleasing and easy and quick to read. Formatting tips. Get down to the size of your type. That's the point size. To make it easier and quicker to read, we get into types of fonts. There is the sans serif and or serif type letters. So over on the right-hand side of this slide, you can see an example of each. Sans serif is on the right, and serif's font is on the left. The next bullet gives you some examples of serif fonts, and the next following bullet is examples of sans serif font. You want your font size to be 14 point, no smaller than 12. You got to make it easier to read. You don't want people to have to bring out a magnifying glass. Use a font variety, at least 2 different fonts or styles like italics and bold, to make it less boring and have things stand out on your page. Maintain your borders. Use colors to imply borders if you like. Bulletize wherever possible. Like mentioned before, color match with your logo. No solid colors. I mean, you don't want white print on a black sheet of paper, for example. You don't want the solid colors. Okay, I have lost control of my keyboard. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing and reshare. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to read these out to you. I want you to think about it, and I'm going to give you the answer. These are important things about capability statements. So what do you think? Number 1, the use of government logos. What does that mean? For example, the logo that the United States Navy uses, or the logo that the Department of Homeland Security uses. If you have a contract with them, is it okay to use their logo on your capability statement? Well, the answer is no. You need to ask for permission from that agency in order to use their logo. You are not representing that agency. You have a contract with that agency. So don't use logos. It can put you in a bad position when you give that capability statement to, say, the Department of the Navy, and you're using a Navy logo on your capability statement. You might have some explaining to do. Okay. Name contacts for the government contracts. Meaning, in last year, you had a contract with the Department of Army, and your contracting officer was so-and-so. You don't want to name names, because in the federal government, there's constant changeover. Today, that if you were to put that person's name that you had as a contracting officer from last year, they could be gone. So that is useless information. Do not put people's names for points of contact. Use both sides of the paper? Of course. Every sheet of paper has 2 sides. You're going to fill up both sides. You want to try to eliminate white space. White space means you have run out of things to say. You don't want to do that. Is any size paper fine to use? No, the answer is no. You want to use standard 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Another common recent question is, what about QR codes? Well, in the past, the answer was no. Now it depends. And the reason why it depends is because some agencies are starting to use QR codes, but not all federal agencies do. So if you have to make the decision whether to include a QR code on your capability statement or not, go ahead and put it on. It's not going to hurt. And maybe the agencies that you give your capability statement can use them, but it's not going to hurt if you give your capability statement to an agency who doesn't use QR codes now. They just won't be able to use it. Number 6, use of relevant photos. Absolutely. We were just talking about that. Photos tell 1,000 words. Number 7, I talked about this earlier. The use of such email addresses, hotmail.com, gmail.com, comcast.net. Is that fine? No. The answer is no. It's not. You got to get your own domain. The use of bullet points? Yes. Don't want to use paragraphs. You want to bulletize the content of that paragraph. Put it in bullets, faster to read. Use of words like on time, best in class, top-notch service. Those good to use? The answer is no. They're too vague. Hopefully you're on time. If you're not going to get another contract, Best in class. What does that mean? Best in class last month is different than best in class this month. Current technology is another buzzword. No, those are not good words. Whatever you want to, whenever you're writing and or creating your bullets, you want to qualify and quantify. Put it in numbers, attach numbers to it, not general statements like best in class and top-notch service. Okay. Number 10, fax numbers. Fax numbers good? Do you want to put them on your capability statement? In general, the answer is no. But there are some agencies that still want to receive things and transmit things via fax. But in general, fax numbers is old school. What we do now is you take a document and you attach it to your email and send it to the recipient. And then they can see it. And if they want, they can print it instead of faxing it. Number 11, this is a big one. This is a common recurring question. Should you identify the number of years that you've been in business or the year that you established your company? Generally, the answer is no. So if you just created a company, you don't want to say established 2023. The old risk needle starts going up. And the federal agency said, oh, they've only been in business for a year. That's going to be really risky to award a contract to them. So it's better for you to be silent on that. Don't say when or how long you've been in business. On the contrary, if you've had your business for 30, 40 years, okay, you can put it on there. But the best rule of thumb is don't identify when you started your business or how long you've been in business. Okay. Use of color. So here's a color wheel, and colors have some connotations and definitions. So I provided this for you. For each of the colors, it describes what that color can portray to the reader. The 3 bullets on the back match your logo. We talked about that, or I mentioned that before. If you've got a color logo, tie in the colors of your logo in your capability statement. No solid colors, and color can create emotion. So be smart about the colors that you do pick to put on your capability statement. Customize when needed. So this only applies to a few companies and special industries like educators, consultants, and whatnot. So your content of your capability statement is going to be a bit different. Include the business background or history. Perfect the headlines containing it between 60 to 100 characters. List the expertise and unique capabilities or resources. List the experience or specific projects that your company has worked on. List any key customers or collaborative partners. Don't use government logos, once again. Prioritize your strengths and your customers' needs, and list special affiliations, licenses, and capabilities. So this is more for the exceptions than compared to the general industries in the United States. Yeah. Finishing touches. So bullet 1, we were just talking about using general terms. Rephrase all generic terms to provide quantifiable, quantitative, and factual data. So instead of saying, we offer on-time delivery, what you want to say instead is something like, for the past 5 years, we have delivered on time 99.5% of the time. See, so you have quantified and qualified that generic phrase up above. The next example, we have a large equipment pool. What does large mean? It's different to different people, but to the reader, it's meaningless. So you might say instead, we maintain over 100 well-maintained forklifts. Once again, you have quantified and qualified. Second bullet, update when needed. It's a living document, so you're going to be probably constantly updating your capability statement. It's a living document. It is your marketing tool. You've got to keep it current, and it needs to be in sync with your website and your email address and whatnot. You don't want any conflict in there. So that's the next bullet there. Ensure consistency with other business representations, such as websites, your business card, so on and so forth. Ensure that the points of contact are your key business individuals. Make sure that when a person leaves your company, you change your capability statement and you replace them with somebody else. Add images. Pictures tell 1,000 words. You want at least a picture or two on the front side, and on the back side, you want pictures for your supplies that you sell or for each of your contracts that you've had from your experience block where you're putting in the details. Put a picture in that kind of shows what you did for that customer. Lastly, yes, less is more, but all text is no fun. So you got to break it up with different fonts and pitch and color and photos and whatnot. Make it visually appealing. Another recurring question that comes up is, well, how many capability statements do I need? And I'll give you the old contracting officer's answer. It depends. So if you are a service company and that's all you do, say you're a janitorial or a grounds maintenance company, and your only interest is with the federal government, then you're only going to need one capability statement. But if you want to sell your service to the state and the county and the city, you're going to need a second capability statement, because the content on your federal capability statement is not going to lend itself to the content on your state capability statement. Okay, so as I said at the beginning, federal government uses NAICS codes. Typically, states use commodity codes. There's one difference there. If you only had one capability statement, you had your NAICS codes on there, and you gave it to the state of Idaho agency, they're going to look at that and what the heck is a NAICS code? Or in my state of Washington, they look at that and well, what's the NAICS code? We use commodity codes, and then they look at socioeconomic certifications. The federal government has woman-owned small business. Well, those are federal socioeconomic certifications. The states don't accept them. And if you go and register with the state of Washington, for example, and get their socioeconomic certifications and you market to the federal government doesn't accept state socioeconomic certifications. So there again is another example why you need two capability statements, one for the federal government and one for the state where you're doing business. So here's some examples of differences between state and federal. NAICS codes is federal, cybersecurity is federal currently. The states are going to be embracing cybersecurity here soon. Commodity codes is state, NIGP is local, like counties and cities. Socioeconomic certifications are different. And so then if you're creating two capability statements, one for federal and one for state, then under your experience block, you're going to change the sequence of your experience. On a federal capability statement, you want to start with your federal experience, then state, then county, then city. Then on your capability statement for the state, you're going to change that up. They may all still be there, but for the capability statement for the state, you're going to show your state experience first. That's what they want to see first, because that's what they're interested in. Have you worked for any of our state agencies? Well, they want to read that first. And then you'll probably put in county and city and then maybe federal and then commercial, and then private industry. So another example of why you would have more than one capability statement is the second bullet there. If you have more than one division in your company, then you're probably going to need two capability statements. The example that I've provided there is supplies versus services. I have a client that I met with last week who is in the HVAC industry, heating, air conditioning, ventilation. And so they are a service company. They install HVAC equipment in commercial buildings and residences and whatnot. But he wants to get into selling components, selling parts, cable and sheet metal and components, electrical, electronic components, whatnot. So that he's creating another division within his own company. So one division is services and the other one is supplies. So there, you wouldn't want to put both of those on one capability statement and provide it to the person that you're talking to. They're going to look at that and think, well, what do you really do? Are you a service company or are you a supply company? So it's better to cut out the confusion and create two capability statements for your company, one for services and one for supplies, and know who you're talking to. Is it a party that's interested in services? Well, then you give them your capability statement for services. Are they interested in buying parts, widgets, whatnot? Then give them your capability statement for your supply division of your company. Okay. Okay, we're getting really close to the end here. We're getting to the summary. So in summary, it's one sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11, both sides in color with pictures. Bullet 2, communicate your core competencies, your certifications, your experience, and how they can contact you, your contact information. Third is a living document. Make updates as needed. Your experience can change, your certifications can change. You may change your NAICS codes, add NAICS codes, delete NAICS codes. It's a living document. You may need to create more than one, as we just talked about, federal versus state versus commercial. You're probably going to start out with a new business selling to commercial and private entities. And after a couple of years, then you're going to decide to get into government contracting. And if you want to go for your local, state, and the federal, well, then you're going to have 3 capability statements. You want to continue working with getting commercial jobs, that's a capability statement. If you want to work for the state agencies, that's a second capability statement. And if you also want opportunities with the federal government, that's a third capability statement. Easy to do. And if you are interested, we can provide templates. As I was showing you here, here's a template for capability statement for federal service contractors. And here's the capability statement. This one is for supply companies, and this one is for service companies. And as I mentioned before, the state capability statement. One for supply companies and one for service companies. So it depends on what your needs are, but we can provide these templates to you. They are a Word document, and you can just update them and rearrange them and add your color and whatnot. And we also have a 10-page document of the do's and don'ts of how to create a capability statement. I can send it to you also. All right, very important now. We're in Q&A session. So let's open this up for any questions that our audience may have, and I'll try and answer all of them.
Good. And before we get started, Terry, if you could, I'm not sure if I always had the same trouble, but when you were sharing the actual capability statement, because your virtual background is up, they couldn't see it. So if you could turn your virtual background off and then just maybe go back and highlight some of those key areas for the audience without the virtual background up, and then while they're thinking about some questions to ask you. Again, I just want to remind everybody, Terry's got over 41 years of experience in the contracting space. So we want to lean in and tap into some of that subject matter expertise, especially if you're really considering getting into the federal contracting space. But while you stop sharing your screen and your virtual background, Terry, one question I had while you're doing that is, how much how much money should a person be possibly thinking about spending on developing the capability statement?
Well, if they have the Microsoft Office suite of software and they've got Word, the templates are in Word, so there's no expense there. It's just the matter of time of getting the information and putting it on there, and then contacting their Apex Accelerator advisor, send them the first draft. What I tell my clients is, I tell them up front, don't get frustrated over this process because it typically takes 4 or 5 drafts before you get a good capability statement. So I'm telling that up front because every time they do a draft, they send it to me before having a meeting with me. Then I review their draft, and in our meeting, I give them my feedback, my comments on their capability statement, and then they work on draft number 2. And a week or so later, they send me draft 2, and we repeat the process. And eventually, we get to the final product where they can start using it and giving it out in networking events to federal agencies and to contractors for subcontracting opportunities and whatnot. So it's a process, but you certainly want to have a good capability statement because it is your marketing tool, right?
And Terry, one of the questions that was in the chat, Ted was asking, and Ted, just so you know, when we send out the link and the PowerPoint presentation, I'll ask Terry to provide me with a couple templates that we can send out with that package as well, so we can make sure you get a hold of that. And then also, like Terry said, feel free to reach out to the various Apex accelerators throughout our state and our region. Again, they can all provide that, but we will make sure we get that to you, Ted. And then Terry, one of the things I heard, so for the audience right now, if they do not currently have a capability statement, should that stop them from going out and possibly bidding on and going after government contracts?
No, not an issue. The two are not related. And then this question comes up a number of times. In fact, I just talked to one of my colleagues last week where she was asked to review a draft. No, actually, she was given the proposal that the company submitted the week before and was asked to do a review of it. It should have been the other way around. You give it to your Apex Accelerator advisor to review the proposal before you submit it, because that's one of the benefits of having an Apex Accelerator working with you. But in this case, it was turned around. And what that contractor did is, they had a solicitation. The solicitation said what to submit in your proposal. But what they did is prepared a cover letter and put their capability statement as an attachment to the cover letter and submitted it as their proposal. That is an extreme case. I've never heard of anybody doing that. They didn't provide what the solicitation said to submit in the proposal. They just put their capability statement. So once again, a capability statement is your marketing tool to communicate with the federal agency or the federal agency's prime contractors for subcontracting opportunities. Very seldom, if ever, and I've been doing this going on next month, 6 years. And when I was a contracting officer, when I prepared a solicitation, I didn't make it a requirement in the solicitation for you to submit your capability statement with your proposal. No, they're two different things. The solicitation is going to identify what it is that you need to submit in your proposal. The capability statement is your marketing tool. When you're going out to networking events or meeting with a contractor for subcontracting opportunities or talking with a federal agency, this is your one-page document to let them know that you exist. What are you offering, how to contact them, and whatnot. So the two are not related.
Got it. I see the audience is taking some time thinking about some questions. So what I would like to do for the audience, again, I know that today's presentation was about federal capability statements and understanding them. But again, Terry's got 41 years of experience. So we'll just open up. If you have some general contracting questions that are concerns that you would like Terry to possibly highlight and answer for you, we'll do that for the next couple of minutes. If not, then I'll ask Terry some more questions.
And if you can help me, I've never turned on my background, so I don't know how it got turned on, but if you can walk through the steps, I will get it turned off.
Actually, Terry, you see where it says video on your screen? And you see
oh yeah,
you hit that.
Okay.
You should be able to see your select virtual background.
Ooh, I got to double click on that.
No, not the actual video link, the little up arrow right next to it. There should be a little up arrow that you can hit, and it should give you some selections of blur your background, adjust your.
Oh, yeah, so I want to select stop video.
No, not stop video, but you want to hit your video, the video settings and then change your background. It should let you change your background. Or adjust your backgrounds and effects. You should see that, adjust your backgrounds and effects.
So blur my background, adjust my background.
That one right there.
Okay. And I want to select, oh, none. Okay.
There you go. Now we see your library. Now you should be able to pull up the capability statements.
Okay.
And you don't have to see your presentation. It was the handhelds that you held up that we couldn't see.
Right. Okay. So here are 4 templates. Can you see these now?
Yes.
Okay. So these are the 2 templates for federal capability statements. And this one is for supply companies and this one's for service companies. And you can see that the front side is identical on each. It is the back side that is
One second, Terry. Do me a favor. Can you stop sharing the presentation so I can put you back in speaker? There you go, right there. Now it should be bigger now.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I can see it too now. All right. So these are 2 templates for federal capability statements. The backside is the only thing that's different. So on this one, it shows this is for supply companies. They list the supplies that you sell. This one is for service companies, and this is the backside, and you're providing the details for each of your contracts with an associated picture. Put pictures for your supplies also, but you'll see that the front sides are identical. So it's only the back sides that you're changing on the capability statement. The next 2 these are state of Washington capability statements. And this one is for supplies. And you'll see the backside is very similar. You're just listing the supplies that you sell, putting some photographs on them. And this one is for service companies. And you're providing very, very similar to the federal, is providing the details of what you identified on the front side. So these are in Microsoft Word. I can send you any or all of them. You just need to tell me, or actually I'll send all 4 of them to you and you can pass them on if you like. And we also have the 10-page guide of the do's and don'ts, much of which I presented in this class today. But this 10-page guide is also available, and I'll send that to you also.
All right, thanks, Terry. And J. Marie is asking, any suggestions for new companies who don't have a ton of experience but excellent services to offer? How should we create a capability statement that emphasizes the most meaningful elements?
Yes, so that is not uncommon for new companies that want to get into government contracting, don't have any experience. So you need to work with your Apex Accelerator advisor. We get creative. So when it comes to this block on experience down here, we get creative. You know, your core competencies, you know what you're selling, how to your data, how to contact you. It's this block here is the experience, and that's what is where the questions and concerns are. Oh, I have no experience. I just started my business. Well, you probably got some business experience because you've been doing it for 5 or 10 years, maybe as an employee for somebody else. So we're gonna take that information and craft it and put it in here. That who did you work? So when you were working for another company, who did that company work for? Did they work for Jeff Bezos or Microsoft, whoever? And what did you do for them? You know, we get creative. We will come up with how to display your experience. And then when you start getting your first subcontract, then you're going to start replacing some of this information and providing that subcontract experience. And when you get your first contract, then you're going to add that. So you're going to start building this up over time, and your personal experience will come off and your actual contracts will come on.
And I just want to make sure I heard you, because it sounded like you said that if I was a service member and I was transitioning out of the service, and when I transition out, whatever I was doing in the services, that's what my business is going to be. Then with your help and other Apex accelerators, we're going to learn how to leverage our military experience and that wording for our experience with our brand new startup business that's trying to get in the government contract.
Absolutely. Because that's all they got. So we're going to get creative and identify and how to put that together under the experience block on the front side of the capability statement.
Thank you. All right. I don't see any other questions, but Terry, I would ask you this, Terry, for this particular audience, if you could share any words of wisdom for those who are looking to get in the government contracting, what would you share with the audience?
Yes, I've been thinking about that, and it's another class that I recently prepared. And so the audience is there. So the vast majority of them have not started a business. Okay, so they're getting out of the service and they are contemplating starting a business. So my first bit of advice is contact SCORE at score.org, sign up to get a mentor assigned to you. And they will help you with all aspects of starting a business, registration, getting insurance, getting an accountant, and buying a franchise, anything that you want, they can help you with. And then after a couple of years of experience, you formed your company and you've been selling it to your next door neighbor and the businesses in your community and whatnot. You've got some experience, you've been successful, and you're ready to expand into government contracting. Then you want to get a hold of an Apex accelerator. You want to register and sign up to get an advisor assigned to you. And they will help you with all aspects of government contracting, like your capability statement, how to get registered in SAM, System for Award Management, how to do your market research to find out if the government buys what you're selling. I mean, because if they don't buy what you sell, there's no point in registering with the federal government. Okay? So those are my two great tips: is starting the business, get with SCORE to get a mentor. And after a couple of years of experience, successful experience, get an advisor from Apex Accelerator to help you.
Thank you so much. And I'd just like to add, along with SCORE, you can also go to businessimpactnorthwest.org and also get you a VBOT advisor who can help walk you through some of those services that Terry was just explaining to you. And those services are totally free to you. From our phonetic alphabet people, that is Foxtrot, Romeo, Echo, Echo. We want to get this done for you. We want to make sure we help you get into this. And Ted, I saw your question again. Anything that Terry shares with me will be shared with this audience today, from the PowerPoint, the reporting, the templates, anything that Terry shares with me, we will make sure that our TA team, when they send the follow-up emails to all who are registered, that you get everything that you want. And even if you didn't have an opportunity to think about your question, particularly right now, again, I'm gonna drop my email address in the chat for you. You can always email me your questions. I will make sure Terry gets those questions, and then we get those questions answered for you. So with that, and Terry, I wanted to again thank you for your subject matter expertise. I really appreciate your time to come back and provide this information to our veteran and military connected community. I understand that government contracting is one of the areas that we often get asked questions about in our boosted business training. Everybody either wants to get into real estate or they want to get into government contracting. And so, but again, a lot of times people are spending a lot of money that they don't need to spend because they're not familiar with Apex accelerators. And we want to push as much business to Apex accelerators to SCORE to the V-Box as possible, so we can keep that money in your business, so you can recycle that money. And later, as you grow, maybe there might be opportunities where you might need to spend some money to upgrade your capability statement or whatever it is that you might need to do. But getting started, we need you to keep all of that money inside of your business, so you can keep that running. So we were going to take a 10-minute break, but we're not going to take a 10-minute break. Terry, what I would ask, if you would like, I would ask if you could stay on. I'm about to bring on one of our spotlight businesses. And so, because we had an unfortunate event, one of our other spotlight businesses had a family emergency, so they couldn't join us. So again, we just want to bring on Dr. Russell Phillips IV, from Phillips Consulting Group. There he is. And we just want to have a conversation for our audience, as Russell Phillips or Dr. Phillips is, in the contracting space. He's switching over from a more of a commercial side to the federal side. And then again, we still had Terry. So, Dr. Phillips, I'd just like to say welcome and thank you for joining us. And just take a couple minutes to tell us who you are, a little bit about Phillips Consulting Group.
Yeah, hello everybody. Hope you can hear me well. I'm Dr. Russell Phillips IV. I'm a Black male with some black hair. I'm a veteran, just like many of you on this call. You can see I'm wearing a blue shirt with a white collar, and presenting in front of you with this wonderful background that Dr. Goins has somehow given me, which is amazing. My pronouns are he and him, by the way, as we go through this discussion. But I'm the CEO of a consulting group, consulting firm really, that is seeking to try to provide some organizational development, some leadership coaching, and some DEI training and stuff for a number of agencies, organizations, with a lot of experience working in healthcare, for nonprofits, government. Been had this company for the last, 3 years, and been growing every single year incrementally. From hundreds of dollars a year to thousands of dollars a year now in revenue. We're slowly but surely making our way to where I want to be.
Good deal, good deal. So Dr. Phillips, can you tell us in the audience, what's your favorite part of being a small business owner?
Absolutely. I heard Terry mention that a lot of you haven't even started your own business yet, and I implore you to do so, because my favorite part of owning my own business is the autonomy that comes with it, right? I have the ability to innovate and create solutions on the go, tailor them to my clients and their needs. It's one of those simple little things of have the autonomy to go see my clients. And so when you're in the military, right, sometimes you get those site visits, got your command and stuff come to visit you and whatnot. Like, I don't got to ask for permission for that. I have the autonomy to go do a site visit with a client anytime, any day that they're available. And I think that's a powerful thing. And I'm a people person. I like to connect with one another in person, preferably, but I use whatever platform is possible. And so, just having that ability and being able to see that impact is absolutely beautiful.
I appreciate that. And then, I know you are an Army veteran. So can you just
Yes.
how your military experience has been maybe an advantage for you as a small business owner?
Yeah, my military background was as a medic in the military, in the Army. Did about 14 years in and got out. And, I learned so much in the military, and I made so many connections. And once I got out, I transitioned to working as a federal employee, as a GS employee, believe it or not. And just it helped build on those connections, meeting more people. I know people that work in DC. I know CORs. I know a number of people in the military that I'm not afraid to tap into some of those connections. And I think that's a very powerful thing. We all, if you're in the Army, at least you had a battle buddy, or something of the sort. And so lean into them, tap into them, tell them what you're doing, tell them what you're trying to do, and see if you can you can get a little further in your process of starting your own business.
I appreciate that. Now, I know you joined us for Terry's presentation. Was there anything that listening in on the capability statement that you said, I need to maybe make an adjustment with my personal capability statement in my business?
Yeah, I love that, seeing Terry's presentation again, because I watched it a year or so ago in person. So he was presenting at a event in Bremerton, and the capability statement, I really need to change and cater and tailor mine to that state versus federal, because I kind of use them and I just change them on the go. But I really need to tailor one for state and one for federal, especially those NCLEC codes versus the I'm trying to say, those codes, federal versus state codes. And so that's a big piece that I know I need to do.
Oh, I appreciate that. And so one of my other questions is, why is Phillips Consulting Group looking to get in? I already was in the commercial contracting space, but now you're looking to make this shift to the federal side. Why is that shift happening?
I think just to grow. It's such I'm a lifelong learner, just naturally am, And you know, I want to learn because when you're doing it in the military or as a civilian for the military, and you're like a contracting officer, a contract officer representative, you know it from one side, and you know how to do what, right? How to get contracts, how to maintain those contracts at times. And I'm trying to figure out, how do I get my foot in the door? So I've already got my foot in the door on state and on a commercial level. I want to learn how to get my foot in the door on some of these on the government level. And there's a lot more bureaucracy, you know, audits and regulations. But when you have all that put together, and when I figure all that out, I, I think that will give me a solid foundation and structure for being able to take any type of contract, not even just stateside, but also internationally. And I think that it's just one thing will lead to another and continue to grow Phillips Consulting Group.
Good. So Dr. Phillips, can you just speak to the audience a little bit about like your experience, like dealing with on the federal side? Are you dealing with different agencies? Are they helpful? Are they just like, you should know this? Don't talk to the audience about some of that, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you look on like the sam.gov website and you're looking at you know, pre-solicitations or even solicitations, right? Or sources sought. Don't be afraid to email. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask questions. You know, obviously there's some things they can answer, they can't answer. Sometimes you may not get a response, but you don't know if you don't try. And especially for the sources sought, like I just reached out to one and there was only 15 responses, and I was like, man, this is an easy one. Like I should be able to get this contract. So, you know, simply just reaching out and reading to the information and making sure that you're not intimidated by it all, because it can seem like a lot when you're downloading 12 something documents for a government contract. and you start fresh, but just don't be intimidated. Reach out, ask questions. And on a state level for a contract that I'm hopefully going to get, you know, I've been going back and forth with the contracting officer for the past 2-3 months, and it's just getting clarification, me asking questions, her asking questions, you know, and just building that relationship. And yeah, it's through email, but I think it'll go a long way.
Good deal. And can you just speak a little bit about your current mental mindset? Again, you know, contracting, you know, it's quite competitive. So there's
Yeah.
you receive a lot of no's.
Yeah.
You hear back from your bid proposal. But can you speak to your mental capacity and mindset in this?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes along with some advice I'd give any of you that are trying to get in that space of contracting too, is like, you get what you put in. And if you're not putting in the hard work, the long hours and sending, you know, 20, 30 emails a week, you're probably not going to get what you expect out of it. You might be lucky. You might only need to send one and get it out. But for me, I know I need to send probably 20, 30 emails a week, reaching out, asking questions, getting clarification, you know, resending some documents and doing the research. And I think, like I said, you get what you put in out of your own business and your own success. And so that's the mindset I have with my business, and trying to just stay adaptable, you know, prioritize what I'm doing and learn from everything I do in this process. Because just as markets evolve, I need to evolve and be able to pivot as quickly as possible, so I can make sure Phillips Consulting Group is here talking to you all again, you know, 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now. I don't know, maybe 40 years from now, like Terry, you know, got that experience.
Good deal. And I just want to encourage the audience too. You know, you can feel free to type in your Q&A questions in the chat or the Q&A. Again, I want you to be able to actually talk to a veteran small business owner who is in the space. You know, so he can, you know, we want you to get everything that you need out of today's call. But while you're thinking about your questions, Dr. Phillips, can you tell the audience one thing that you wish you had known before you started your business?
Yeah, I wish I had known that my journey would have been a whole lot simpler if I had tapped into some of that social currency that I've earned over the years of building relationships with people in the military, and in the private sector and in different spaces, and just reached out and told them, hey, look, I'm starting this business. You know, where should I start? Like, or you got any insight that you could provide me? Because that, I think, would have gotten me a whole lot further from the get-go, and hopefully would have saved me a lot of hard lessons I had to learn. Because nobody's going to give this stuff to you. You got to earn it. And so that's definitely one thing I wish I knew from the get go. Just tap into that network. You built it. You know these people. You built these relationships. Tap into them, and don't be afraid to do so.
Again, I just like to remind everybody that, as Terry mentioned earlier, you have score.org that you can reach out. You have the Apex accelerators, and the Apex accelerators, and I see you come up here in Secretary. The Apex accelerators across the United States and our territories. There's not like it's just specific to certain states. There are Apex accelerators throughout every state. There are SCORE throughout every state. There are veteran business outreach centers throughout the states. Not every state has a VBlock in it, but every state has a VBlock that covers its region. So there, and then again, there's the Small Business Administration. Again, and then specifically to the region for who's on the call right now, again, we have Business Impact Northwest, who has a ton of resources. But Terry, I saw you come off mute, so.
Yeah, I was just wrapping up. I'm available to answer any questions.
Okay, yeah, you can stay on. No, we're not gonna wrap up quite yet. He says, once he opened that door with asking for advice, how did he apply the info? Ted, is that directed towards Terry or Dr. Phillips? Or if you heard the question, it says, once he opened that door with asking for advice, how did he apply the information? So I think Dr. Phillips. Yeah.
I mean, I opened the door and I had somebody that worked for me for many years. They're a social worker, and I just said, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. I don't know where to start. I'm looking at sam.gov, looking for these contracts. Like, what do you got? And they unloaded. They said, oh, wow, I want to see you succeed. Dr. Phillips, I want to make sure you're good. Like, there's this happening, at this hospital. There's that happening there. Maybe you should reach out and ask some of those people. And so one thing led to another, and then I'm applying for a contract, and I'm reaching out to a source of SOT saying, hey, look, I offer these services. This is my firm. I have this expertise. And led from there. And so really opening that door, asking the question, and sometimes they got insight. Maybe they know what's happening. I mean, I don't know, from a government side, they know what's happening in their organization, that they might be able to reach out to you and say, hey, look, here's an opportunity. Like, Dr. Armstrong Goins says, hey, Russ, you got a second? Can you jump on this? Here's an opportunity to connect and meet with people. And I think that's that opportunity, that's that advice you're going to get and be able to apply later on.
I appreciate it. And again, like I said, for everybody that's on the call, again, if you're going to start a small business, are you going to start this entrepreneurship journey? Are you going to become a solopreneur? Are you going to figure out a side gig or a side hustle that you're going to do? You have to talk about the thing that you're doing with everybody that you come across to. You are a walking networking marketing machine. So you should be speaking about the services that you have. Again, we want to leverage these small computers that we all carry around with us. Tons of contacts in here who want to help you, but the challenge is oftentimes we're not talking to the contacts and you're letting them know what you're doing. And then a lot of times in the veteran community, we often have challenges with raising our hand and asking for help. I'm telling you that there are a ton of agencies who offer Foxtrot Romeo Echo services, and they're sitting on the sidelines waiting to help you, but they're not coming to look for you. Right? So again, we have to raise our hands. We have to go after what we want in life. And again, because we served our country honorably, we know what it's like to go after things. Right? We already have the skill sets, we have the mindset, and we have the things that we need to do to make ourselves successful in business. Dr. Phillips, what I do, and then Terry, once Dr. Phillips gets through answering this question, you can jump on the back side of this question as well. Dr. Phillips, what's one piece of advice you would give to our audience today who's looking to either start their business or get into government contracting?
Yeah, take the first step. Take the first step. I mean, you can apply for a business license. I mean, I don't know if you're in Washington State, you can apply to the DOR for your business as sole proprietorship. You can go apply for your LLC, your S Corp, C Corp through the SOS website. Take that first step. Jump on it. Start it now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till 3 years from now. You've been talking about it. Turn it into action and just do it.
Good deal. Terry?
I think this is a great benefit for these military people who are transitioning out and are thinking about starting a business, because I've been doing this. In 2 months. It will be 6 years since I retired, December 28th of 2018. And in these 6 years, so the vast majority of my clients have told me in my, like, the first meetings that we've had, I wish I knew you existed 5 years ago or 10 years ago. It's kind of like a well-kept secret. The population doesn't know SCORE exists. The population doesn't know Apex Accelerator exists. This is a free opportunity for these people that are just getting out of the military to start a business, to get all of this sage experience and knowledge. The SCORE mentors are, for the most part, retired business executives who are giving back to you, new people, in their retirement. They're giving back for free. They do this for free. They don't get paid for this. And the Apex Accelerators are trained in all aspects of government contracting, federal, state, county, city, school districts, universities, public utility districts, whatnot, to help you. And it's all free. So that's 2 bits of information I would say. If you are an individual who wants to start a business, get a SCORE mentor. And if you are already in business and have been successful for a couple of years and want to expand into government contracting, get a Apex Accelerator advisor assigned to you. It can help you immensely. Either way, SCORE, Apex.
Good deal. And Ted, I see you know. I'm glad you tapped into to with us today, Ted, as well. And Jay Marie, you're very much welcome. I'm going to share my screen. Let me just bring something to your attention real quick. I hope everybody can see my screen. So I just want to let you know again, if you are in the Alaska area, we want to let you know that tonight we will be having a live networking event up in Alaska in Anchorage at the BP Energy Center. So again, we want you to come out, do some networking, meet other small business owners, meet Tracy Willette and the team of the VBOC up north. We want to make sure you understand. We want to meet other resource partners from the SBA, the SBDCs, or the Small Business Development Centers. Let you know that they are available to help you. Also, we had another event going on. Today. We had a Boost the Business Reboot training up in the Lewiston area, and what the Boost the Business Reboot training is our 2-day online virtual Boost the Business training that we typically train on across the military installations. We want to make sure that our veteran community is getting the information that they need to start this journey. Because again, we want to see you be successful. We want to remove all the obstacles, or as many obstacles and challenges as possible. And more than anything, when you attend either a Boost the Business or a Boost the Business Reboot, one of the resources that you're going to get in there is our digital workbook. That resource alone has over 150 resources that relate to small business. So just coming to the fact that that one resource alone is worth the 2 days that you got to spend in the training, in my opinion. And before we get out of here, I just want to remind everyone, again, you can go to business. And Tiana, can you check in the chat the Business Impact Northwest website? We want to make sure you understand that there are a ton of resources for you available through Business Impact Northwest. And again, I just want to reiterate this. The resources at businessimpactnorthwest.org, but 95% are totally free to you. There are some that have some costs associated with them, but again, the bulk of everything at Business Impact Northwest is totally free to you. The only requirement is a time investment, right? You might have to provide an email and some basic data points that we need to collect. But again, we're not going to spam. We want to help you and your small business grow. Now, again, even if once you become a client of the VBOC, what happens is that opens you up to all of Business Impact Northwest resources. And even if you don't become a VBOC client, you still can sign up to be a client to one of our 3 women business centers that we currently have right now. We have a women's business center in Alaska, a women's business center here in Washington State, and we also now just have a brand new who just opened last week, a women's business center in the state of Idaho. Now, again, there are currently 2 VBOCs. Again, we have the Northwest VBOC, which covers Idaho, Washington, and Oregon, and then of course we have the Alaska VBOC that covers Alaska. If you're looking to, maybe get some money for your small business, again, Business Impact Northwest is a certified development financial institution. So what that basically means is we have the capacity to lend money to small businesses. Now, there's always going to be requirements that you need to meet, but you need to start the process like Dr. Phillips said earlier. Don't be afraid to get a no, because when we give you the no, we're going to tell you what you're missing so you can come back and cycle back to possibly getting a yes when you are ready. So again, our Capital Readiness Center is available to you. Again, if you need to work on getting a budget, you need to understand your FICO scores. If you need to understand financial feasibility statements, our Capital Readiness Center is available to help you work through that. And then also, if you're looking to get into food and farm, we have our food and farm business services. So again, we have a incubator kitchen that you might possibly could apply for, and you maybe get in there and cook your cookies, right? We are removing a lot of the challenges and barriers to our small business owners. And if you are in the Oregon and you are a more experienced business, we have our Oregon MBDA Development Center down there for our more established businesses that you can sign up for services down there as well. So at the end of the day, if I had to tell you one thing, is don't let what you don't have currently stop you from stepping into this space. Just get started. Just reach out to the VBOX, reach out to Terry and the Apex Accelerators. Terry's told you 3 times now to go to score.org, right? You can go to the SBA. If you can't remember score.org, go to sba.gov, and they will refer you to SCORE. They will refer you to the Small Business Development Centers. They will refer you to the Women's Business Centers. They will refer you to the Veterans Business Outreach Centers, right? Again, there are a ton of agencies that want to see you be successful, but we are not going to go find you. We are waiting for you to raise your hand, send an email, make a call. So with that being said, again, I appreciate everyone taking time out of the day to join us. Terry, thanks again for a phenomenal presentation. Dr. Phillips, again, thank you for taking time out of your schedule. I know, as an entrepreneur, you say I ain't got time for these webinars, but I appreciate you taking time out to share your wisdom and experience with the audience. And again, to my TA team, again, I appreciate everything you guys do. And join us tomorrow. If you haven't already signed up we will be having a roundtable discussion with Melissa Welsh, who is one of our small business development, one of our boosted business trainers and business advisors with our Alaska VBOC team. And she will be having a roundtable with a panel of small businesses for tomorrow's presentation. And then our last presentation will be on November the 13th, which is Thursday, again from 11:30 to 1. We will be going over marketing information with Jeff Tone from JLT Marketing, and we will have a couple small businesses so you can gain further insight. So with that being said, again, I appreciate everyone's time. We will see you all hopefully tomorrow on our presentation. Again, Terry, Russell, thanks again. Everyone else, be well.